That was the way he enjoyed his pleasure.
A man being called the most prolific serial killer in the country is now charged with 2 murders right here in the tri-state. Good afternoon, I'm Kyle Linsky.
And I'm Paula Toti. 2 Cincinnati women murdered by a notorious serial killer who went on a crime spree around the country.
Samuel Little was indicted today on 2 decades-old homicide cases. Angela Ingram has been following this case. She joins us now with how Little was able to get away with murder for so long. Angela?
Kyle, he intentionally picked women who he thought no one would care about. He picked prostitutes and women who were addicted to drugs or alcohol. Samuel Little has admitted to 93 murders, 2 of them right here in Cincinnati.
Manual strangulation. That's what he does. He strangles women with his hands.
He specifically looked for girls with a certain neck type.
To him, strangulation was sex, and he said, how could you tell a man not to have intercourse with a woman? Well, that's like telling me not to strangle people.
That was serial killer Samuel Little's explanation to a Cincinnati police detective and assistant prosecutor last month. They flew to a prison in California to interview the 79-year-old about choking women to death.
I mean, that's the way he looked at it. That's how bizarre this person is. I mean, that struck both of us as, this cat's different than anybody we normally deal with.
2 of those women are from Cincinnati. Little confessed to strangling Anna Stewart here and then dumping her body in Grove City, not too far from Columbus, in 1981. Little also says he killed another woman who is still unidentified. Detective Kelly Best believes it may have happened in the 1980s.
And he remembers her apartment, and he described that. So I'm thinking like maybe Main Street, Sycamore Street sounded familiar.
Little drew 2 sketches of the same woman to help Best identify her. He told Detective Best, although the skin coloring is different, it is the same woman. She was an African-American woman with darker skin. Even though she's unidentified, Little is still indicted for murdering Jane Doe.
Gets her out of the car and drags her over to where he sees this billboard, and he says he leaves her underneath the billboard, and the billboard says it's an advertisement for like cool cigarettes or something like that.
Investigators say Little was friendly and helpful when they met with him, but Prosecutor Deters says there's only one word for a serial killer.
They're just evil out there, and he's evil, period.
And the Cincinnati Police Department still needs help identifying that one victim. She may have been killed sometime in the 1980s, but Little isn't sure exactly when. Again, Little remembers dumping her body by a billboard near the highway. Kyle, back to you.
Such a disturbing story there, Angela. Well, the prosecutor here says that Little is expected to take a plea deal coming up in early August. That will happen via Skype since the 79-year-old is in a California prison.